Welcome to Travel in Style, the series that brings you the very best of the best. First, we visit the Caribbean seas of the Yucatan Peninsula and the idyllic getaway resort that's only a short drive from the mayhem of Cancun. Yes, welcome to paradise. This is the award-winning hideaway of Maroma. But aside from this incredible beach, what makes this place so exclusive?
What sets Maroma apart is, first of all, the location of Maroma, which is only a 35 minutes drive from the second largest airport in the country with excellent airlift. The fact that the resort sits on 25 acres of jungle reserve. Maroma is basically nestled in that jungle. Part of a very important component of that composition, obviously, in addition to the jungle, is the ocean. The Maroma Beach is just unique. The sand is basically powder, and it has this coral that dissolves in the sand, which is a pink coral. You can see it when you have it on your hand, and that prevents the sand from heating up. So literally, you can walk on that sand barefoot noontime, and you will not feel any burning on your feet, and that makes it very unique. Even though we are located in Riviera Maya, which is known by the number of different hotels that are located here, we're still secluded in our own bay. So you don't really have to travel 24 hours to get into a little hideaway. You drive 35 minutes, you arrive here to Maroma, you get margaritas, and then you get immersed in the experience of Maroma. Our staff are the most wonderful thing that Maroma has. And Maroma wouldn't be Maroma if we didn't have our staff, our family. And our Mayan staff really makes a big difference because they are the ones that serve from the heart.
It is true that wherever you stay, it's the staff that can make or break any vacation. Here, the staff are so good that you become much more than a guest. Indeed, much more than just another face. For here, you become a friend. Moreover, you become somebody that is looked after in much the same way as you would look after an old friend, staying in your home.
They speak the dialects, and they were born in the region. So when you have somebody who has been born in the region, obviously, they bring that essence into the experience. And so we try not to do anything commercialized on the Mayan side, evidently. The spa plays a very important role, Quinan, for instance. A lot of the Mayan traditions, a lot of the Mayan concepts, herbs, etc., are incorporated in those treatments, for instance.
The name of the spa is Quinan. Quinan means the source of the sun, which we interpret to be our own inner sanctuary crystal spirit. So the whole concept of the spa is that we actually come back to our source, the Quinan.
In 2008, the Travel and Leisure World's Best Awards rated this resort as the best hotel spa in Latin America. But they also ranked them overall as the 5th best hotel spa in the world.
We created it architecturally with Mayan sacred geometry, which is a sacred science of the Mayans, and it's based on proportions. So if you were to take the proportion of your belly button down to your feet or belly button to head, and then take and break that down to the smallest portion, and then look at a shell and measure all the rings of the shell and take that proportion, you would get the same universal number. So what we did is we took that number and applied it to everything that we built in the spa. From the height of the palapa, the width of the treatment rooms, the size of the squares of the blocks that we use. In addition to that, we placed water fountains in the north, the south, and the west. And the purpose behind that was that the water would constantly be moving, which in turn, it moves energy in, because what we do at a spa is we work with a lot of energy. This really helps to clean, so it's a natural cleansing. The treatment rooms were designed so it would be a residential style. They are for couples. They're big enough for couples, and they have showers and bathrooms, so we can do all of our treatments in there.
Many of the treatments offered at Keenan are based on ancient Mayan healing. Some of the services will not be found anywhere else in the world. The treatments use different local Mexican muds that heal different properties of the body. One helps pain, one helps swelling, one helps with acne and other skin problems.
So I created that so that guests who didn't necessarily want a treatment could go into the sauna and steam and self-apply the muds and heal themselves in the sauna and steam rooms. And I was in there actually taking the treatment. It felt so good to massage the mud. What I did is I grabbed a therapist, I took them into the room, and I asked them to massage me with the mud. And it ended up being one of the most amazing massages because you can really get a deep connection with the muscles and the slip of the mud. And it also is very detoxifying and full of minerals and vitamins.
But for the ultimate experience, try the Temazcal.
When you go to the Temazcal, you will feel the same when you were in the womb of your mother. Because it's dark and warm, and I work with the 4 elements. The earth is our body, the water is our blood, the wind is our breathing, and the fire is our spirit. And I start with the ceremony, and after I clean the body of the guest with that incense, and after we're ready to go in. My assistant, and he heat the rocks in one oven with the wood. And when we are ready, and the people sit on the sand, and he put the rocks, and I made the tea with different herbs. And I close the door, and the Temazcal is dark.
The feedback that we have from guests is, number one, that they don't feel like if they had been in a hotel. Some other guests say that, I remember somebody saying that she hasn't been in heaven, or she thought she would see heaven until she died, until she came to Maroma, you know, which really makes a big difference. 40% of our clientele are repeated guests. Maroma was conceived by Jose Luis Moreno, who was the original owner, who's an amazing architect. He has created an environment which combines the traditional Mexican hacienda designs and traditions in conjunction with a bit of a Moorish style, Greek style in certain areas, that at the end of the day gives a very important component on the personality of the architecture of Maroma. The rooms as well, they haven't been designed as a hotel room. They're not necessarily uniform rooms or box rooms. They're all in different sizes and shapes. Some of them are located with views to the garden, some others have ocean views, and some others are right there by the beach, like Shale. One of the new products that we have is Shale, which in Maya means house of heaven. These are 9 of our new suites. They're over 2,000 square feet each in average. And we have brought in the spa component experience into the suites. So they are located oceanfront, you have your own private beach. But the most important component there is the romantic component, because we have specialized even more on the romantic side there in setting special amenities up for guests or just setting up the right environment.
The whole essence is romance. Here, the natural harmony and the spiritual relationship between land and sea comes together. A candlelit meal in the restaurant is just the start of a wonderful evening experience.
The very first thing I did personally when I came into Maroma was to set 1,000 candles throughout the resort. And until today we do that. The candles set a very, very important romantic scene at night, because by nature, the most important thing of Maroma is that it's romantic by nature. The fact that we don't operate this hotel as if it was a hotel. The experience is not being in a hotel, the experience is being in a house. You don't sign checks. We call you by your first name. We know you. We want to pamper you. We want to make a very special stay in Maroma. That's the luxury of Maroma.
So that's our resort in Mexico. Bangkok. It's time to catch the train. This wonderful building is Hua Lam Phang Station, right in the heart of the city. Trains have always been the fastest and most convenient mode of transport in Thailand. From a travel point of view, it's really wonderful not to have a 2-hour drive to the airport, but also a huge relief to avoid all of the check-in queues and endless airport security routines. Locals and visitors watch with delight and intrigue as the Orient Express gently arrives on Platform 3 in all its splendor. This is a narrow-gauge train with carriages that not only exude an elegance of time past, but are remarkably spacious. This train really is the epitome of luxury. Check-in procedures are both quick and efficient. This really is an example of find your train, check your bags with a porter, and go. Marvelous. It's a 3-day journey with plenty of time to relax. And of course, there is time to go sightseeing. Our first trip, Kanchanaburi, with its rivers Khoi Yai and Khoi Noi, perhaps better known as the River Kwai. And this is the famous bridge over the River Kwai, which inspired the 1957 classic film starring Alec Guinness. The excursion takes around 4 hours and includes a river trip and an in-depth lesson about the region and its fascinating history. We learn of the toil and trouble of Burma's railway construction in the early 1940s that became a deathly race against time. It was an incredibly tragic story, with some 280,000 laborers forced to build 258 miles of railway. 100,000 of the workers were prisoners of war. The death toll topped 106,000. Hence, the Burma Railway is also known as the Death Railway. Back on dry land, there is plenty to see, including a small museum that illustrates the hard and near impossible conditions the workers faced. It is also here at Kanchanaburi where the largest POW cemetery is placed as a stark yet silent reminder of all of the atrocities that took place in the 1940s.
The Japanese army had two rail regiments, the 5th and the 9th. Now they used the prisoners of war and the Asian labourers to form the rail bed, but the actual laying of the rails was supervised by these two Japanese rail regiments. And okay, they used prisoners of war to do the heavy lifting, but the actual engineering of the whole thing was done by the Japanese army, who had experience in just this thing. They managed to complete the whole 415 kilometers, 18 months, and it worked. It was a recipe for disaster, really, from the very beginning. I mean, okay, they had to get through to Burma to cut this military supply route to Chiang Kai-shek. In those days, certainly Kanchanaburi was just a jungle province, just a few odd villages, all self-supporting. You know, every family had 2 or 3 pigs, 10, 20 chickens, a little bit of rice. There's no big sort of industry, though, and all of a sudden the Japanese army arrived with something like 200,000 men, all needing to be fed. Where were you going to get the food from? And even if you did get the food, how were you going to get it into the jungle? There weren't any roads, there were just elephant tracks. Okay, so they used the river, but in the wet season the river was very high, and in the dry season basically the river disappeared. So you couldn't get the boats up or anything like that. So yeah, most of the men that died of malnutrition.
It's a somber but educational experience. The story today is so hard to believe, but the evidence of suffering and death lies here as a constant reminder to mankind that war should be avoided at all costs. At fair speed, we cross the border of Thailand and enter into Malaysia. Here, the scenery is forever changing from lush green tropical valleys to suburban districts of both the wealthy and the poor. Through the night, as one town merges into another, the train heads into Butterworth for our second off-train adventure, a sea crossing to the island of Penang. Nicknamed the Pearl of the Orient, Penang is the second smallest state in Malaysia and is officially recognized as having the most unique cultural architecture in Southeast Asia. Architecture that largely reflects the many religions practiced here, which include Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, Sikhism, Catholicism, to name but a few. The temples are open to all and provide a real insight into local life. For fun, take a rickshaw and explore. The short ride takes you through the many districts on this tiny and compact island in a matter of minutes. Its population has an ethnic blend of Malay, Chinese, and Indian, so the food is a mixture of curry, noodles, and seafood. Truly delicious. So good, in fact, that Time magazine voted the region as having the best street food in Asia. Back on board and heading now well on our way to Singapore, there is no stopping the following day. This is a day to simply enjoy the train. Like a cruise, time is spent reading, relaxing, and exploring the various carriages. There is time to watch the shows, make new friends, eat, drink, and generally be merry. Train manager Ulf Buchert has worked on board for years and believes that traveling by rail is the most exciting way to go.
Arriving into a city by train gives you really this anticipation that you really visit that city. So you have first the countryside, the suburbs, and then the metropolis. Unlike on an airport, where you actually arrive somewhere far away from the city and have to have an expressway transfer until you reach the city. By train, you're smack in the middle. You're right there in the heart of the city.
It arrives in style, but of course, you travel in style too.
We have actually three different types of accommodation. There's the Pullman, which is a traditional Pullman cabin, an upper and a lower berth. And then our next category would be the State, which is more luxurious. You have actually twin beds on even level. And our most luxurious is our presidential suites, which is one entire railway carriage with 2 suites. So you literally have half a railway carriage traveling in style and looking at the countryside. We cater literally for everything. We have accommodation, we have bathrooms, we have bars, we have entertainment, we have 5-star food, we have exclusive service. So it's a 5-star hotel on wheels.
Our 5-star hotel on wheels arrives in Singapore, on time, of course. So, sadly, it's time to say goodbye to the people that have become more friends than staff. So till the next time, goodbye.